ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്. മാറ്റിനി ട്രിബ്യൂണലിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. അതുപോലെ ഇന്ന് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ വരുംകാലങ്ങളിൽ സംഭവിക്കാനുള്ള മനോഹരമായ സ്വപ്നങ്ങൾ, പുരോഗതിയിലേക്ക് നമ്മളെ കൊണ്ടെത്തിക്കുന്ന ഒത്തിരി നേട്ടങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ചും അറിവുകളെക്കുറിച്ചും അത് ഉണ്ടായി വരുന്ന രീതികളെക്കുറിച്ചും ഒക്കെ കണ്ണൻ സാറ് തുടർച്ചയായി നമുക്ക് എല്ലാ മാസവും ഒരു ക്ലാസ് എന്ന നിലയിൽ എടുക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഇന്ന് ബ്ലൂ സോൺ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന, ബ്ലൂ എക്കണോമി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ ഒരു വിഷയം, എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ സമുദ്രത്തിന്റെ റിസോഴ്സിനെ കൂടുതൽ പ്രയോജനകരമായി ഉപയോഗിക്കാം എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ കണ്ണൻ സാറ് നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടി സംസാരിക്കും. സാറ് നേവിയിൽ വൈസ് അഡ്മിറലായിട്ട് റിട്ടയർ ചെയ്തു. വളരെ പ്രത്യേകതയുള്ള സേവാ മെഡലുകളെല്ലാം സാറ് കരസ്ഥമാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. തന്നെയുമല്ല, സ്പെഷ്യൽ ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻസിൽ CEO ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ ജോലി ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും പേരിൽ കണ്ണൻ സാറിനെ ഞാൻ ഇതിലേക്ക് ക്ഷണിക്കുകയാണ്. കണ്ണൻ സാർ, യു ആർ വെൽക്കം.
Thank you, Dr. Sabu. I need to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you a very emerging topic world over. And India is the process of finalizing its plan. It's a very I should tell the audience, it's a slightly complex topic, but I will try and make it as simple as possible so that there are takeaways for everyone. As usual, I have structured my presentation in 2-3 parts so that anyone who wants to see it later in stages, installments, he can do that. So with this, I will upload my presentation. Thank you. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Right. So India is in the process of finalizing its blue economy package. I will give a very short introduction why this blue economy is so critical for India, for the world, and humanity. So let's very clearly understand that aspect first. So in introduction, just to get a feel of the vast area oceans cover, 72% of Earth's surface is oceans. And they give 50% of the oxygen which we breathe. They remove 25% carbon dioxide from the air. They moderate our climate. If it is in tropical regions, it is made cooler, and the opposite for in the polar regions. They give us seafood and give livelihood to millions of people. So oceans, which otherwise we are seeing it only as a form of, some people look at it for tourism, somebody looks at it for entertainment, somebody looks at it for leisure, somebody looks at it for holidays, but they play a major role for survivability of human life. And if you recall, over the last 30, 40 years, the world has exploited the earth, land resources so much it is exploited, either in the form of minerals have been extracted, or they have gone for very heavy industrialization and burning a lot of oil and releasing a lot of carbon, which has caused global warming. And this has affected the earth, its ability to control the climate. So climate is going out of hand at this point of time. And experts feel if we don't take care of the oceans now, it will aggravate further. We should use the oceans to reduce our stress caused by land, caused by people staying on land. So whatever has happened on land, It is getting slowly reversed, very slowly, but more important, don't allow the same thing to happen to the oceans. That is the message. So, a lot of discussions have taken place in this the last 20, 25 years. And the UN finally evolved a set of package, a set of goals, which will ensure we will have economic development. At the same time, we will have sustainability. So these sustainable development goals, and short form is SDG, we'll be using it again and again. SDGs, a package has been made, and they asked all the member countries. There are 193 member countries in the UN. So they have told every country, please introduce all these aspects which are required for your country, for your economy to grow. Out of the 17 SDGs, SDG 14, number 14, pertains to ocean-based economies, where today we feel we should have an integrated approach to utilize its resources so that the ocean remains healthy. Otherwise, it will also become weak in health and aggravate the problem, what has already been initiated by land. Land has already caused the problem of global warming because people have they have overutilized the resources, but we should not allow that to happen to ocean. So that is the main thrust for the discussion today. Many countries have already institutionalized the new approach to govern the oceans, their part of the oceans. And what is their part, I'll come to it a little later, through a package called Blue Economy. So if you say it is as per Blue Economy, it means it is a package which is being evolved to make sure that no harm is done to the oceans by your economic activities, right? So the structure of Blue Economy is largely similar, whether it is USA or France or India or China, it's all the same. But the contents can be country specific. So we will look at what is India's Blue Economy package is going to be. At the moment, it is not yet announced, but I am basing this study on expert groups' reports, which are being put together by the government at this point of time. So let us look at what is Blue Economy in general first. So these are the 17 different goals set by the UN for all countries to follow. It for aspects on how to save water, how to make sure air is remaining pure, how to make sure trees are not cut. So many things are there. But we are only looking at number 14, which is for life below water. So we have to look at this UN's SDG goals, which had to be implemented by 2030. When you say implemented, you have to adopt the policy, you have to issue laws and rules if required. We have to create institutions who will monitor whether things are happening properly. All these things will have to happen, will have to be done by 2030. As I mentioned to you, the 17 SDs are to ensure you grow in economy, keep the environment sustainable, and include all sectors of your society. Social inclusion is there. That is the aim of this SDG. And these SDGs have been developed by UN to be followed by all countries. There are many targets for the 17 goals. I'm not going into that, but it's more than 150 targets to be mentioned. How you are making sure, for example, ocean is not polluted, ocean is not acidified, ocean is not rising abnormally, the level is not rising. All these are part of the targets which had to be achieved. So let us look at life below water, which is SDG 14. Now, the essence of this 14 SDG is you exploit your ocean, you exploit your seas, take marine resources, whatever you want from the sea, but do it in a conserving and sustaining manner. What is conserving? What is sustaining is what we have to discuss and put them all together. They require integration, which you will understand as we go along. So healthy oceans or seas are essential. I've already told you that. And there are 10 targets for SDG 14. We will not go into those 10 targets and 10 indicators, which will be monitored by UN, but we will look at how it is relevant to India. So if you look at the resources of ocean, they are called the natural capital of the world, of humanity. This has been gifted by God. It has come as a total wealth to humanity. So if you uncontrollably utilize it, like you've done on land, it will lead to bankruptcy, and you will find the oceans are not able to support your economy, support your livelihood, support your seafood. All these things may happen. So it has to be some controlled utilization. Today, oceans contribute to 5% of global GDP. If you put the GDP of USA, China, India, Japan, and all countries together, it will come to, I'm sorry, there's a little mistake here. It will come to more than 100 trillion. A little less than 100 trillion, 88.8 trillion. Out of that, 5% is coming from oceans. From oceans, it comes to India also. From oceans, it comes to USA. In oceans, it also gets UK. But Nepal does not get it because there are no oceans for Nepal. It's landlocked. Nothing for Bhutan. The ocean contribution is 5% of global GDP, which is 4.4 trillion. So the contribution of ocean is more than India's entire GDP. India's GDP is only 3.5 now, right? So the oceans put together world over is a significant part of our global GDP. And studies have revealed if you can spend $1 in protecting mangrove, we'll talk more about mangroves later, but mangroves are those which are growing on the beach, in the wetlands near the beach, and they are protecting the soil from erosion. They also absorb carbon. So many things they do. And they also provide home for many fish and prawns and other things. If you invest $1 in its protection, then you will get a return of $3. If you spend $1 in trying to get wind energy, I mean offshore wind energy, that means the windmill is in the sea, not on land. If you spend $1, it will give you $10 revenue over its life. If you spend $1 in making sure a ship is not releasing much of carbon into the air, because it burns diesel, it burns furnace oil, sometimes it may be burning LNG. It varies from ship to ship. But if you spend $1 in controlling the amount of carbon which comes out of a ship, you can get a revenue of $2 to $5. But if you do overfishing, it's called IUU, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. If you do overfishing from sea, slowly, the quantity of seafood will come down in the sea. And you will find it very difficult to get enough seafood. So you should not do overfishing from the sea. There are many rules for it. There are many regulations for it in various parts of the world. So if you do overfishing, you will actually cost the amount which I've told you, nearly $30 billion will come. So that's one indication of not allowing too much of utilization of resources. So the blue economy program, if you can introduce, there is a benefit to even the carbon emissions coming from land. So this is what the UN report says and many expert reports says. And lastly, I would like to tell you how to define blue economy. The World Bank has given the best definition. It says sustainable use of ocean for economic growth, improved livelihood and jobs, and keeping the health of ocean ecosystem. So many countries are calling ocean economy instead of blue economy. The European Union is calling it blue growth. They don't call it blue economy, they call it blue growth. Commonwealth calls it ocean governance. There are different names, but countries understand what is to be done with respect to ocean health. Australia, UK, USA, Russia have already issued policies. Canada and Australia have already made law and created institutions. India at the moment started in 1920 by doing discussions with Germany, France, and then formed a task force with Norway, because Norway is quite an advanced country as far as ocean economy is concerned, to discuss a policy. But we are not issued a policy yet, but a draft one is under circulation. And government's New India, as they call from 2030 in Amrit Kal, is based on 6 pillars, out of which one pillar is blue economy. I'm quoting from Finance Minister's budget speech in February 23. So blue economy has come to stay. Many countries have done it. India is in the process of doing it. So let us look at what are India's ocean resources, which we need to integrate. Very quickly, we'll run through. So let's look at India's ocean resources. Let's look at this map first so that you have an idea. Why are we saying ocean resources? From the sea, India has got 9 coastal states. You can yourself say it from Gujarat, Bombay, Maharashtra, come down, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, like that, West Bengal. So there are about 9 states and 2 union territories, Pondicherry as well as Daman and Diu. Apart from the islands on the east side, Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar. We got about 1,200 islands who have 1,200 kilometers of coastline around them. Why am I saying this is important? As per international law, UN law, the sea which is lying 200 miles from your coast, provided it is not lying 200 miles from another country's coast, is your area. It's called EEZ. So the dotted line which you see around India, including Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands, all that, this dotted line is your area. Any resource lying there is your property. You're authorized to take it. You can use it. Others can come, but they can't take resources. They can cross that place, but they can't take away the resources, which includes seafood. They cannot come and fish there. They cannot install wind energy farms there. They cannot take minerals from the seabed if it is not yet approved, but it's going to be approved soon. So they cannot do it. So that is your legitimate area. So India has nearly 2.3 million square kilometer, this dotted line. And there's another rule that if your seabed is quite flat, which is called continental shelf, if that is flat, then the EEZ is up to 350 nautical miles. So you see one hashed area here, one hashed area, one hashed area here. These are all abutting the continental shelf on the coast. So we have put up a case For last 10 years, this case is going on, but it is likely that we may win this case and we may get some more area from the sea as our legitimate area for ownership of resources. If this happens, please remember, you will have more sea area than land area. If this proposal comes through, India will have 3.29 million square kilometers is our land area, and sea area will become 3.5 million square kilometers. So it's a very, very important aspect. EEZ, which you keep hearing it in print media and the TV, it is the legitimate area for your resource. Anything which lies there is yours. We have already got maritime boundaries with 6 countries, and you can see the list there is all delineated. Only Pakistan boundary is not yet finalized. And 17 crores of people in India are staying in the coastal districts. In Kerala, almost every district is coastal except Kottayam, and maybe, I don't know whether any other, Palakkad is not in the coast. There may be, I don't know, any other state is there, any other district is there, which is not on the coast. But 17.1 crore of people stay in the coastal districts of India, which means they have an issue of livelihood. Their livelihood is related in some way or other to what is happening in the ocean. So you got so much of area, sea for you to exploit. You can do it, provided you do it in a justified manner. So this is the EEZ part of it. Now let us look at fishing first. For your information, there are 2 types of fishing. One is marine production, other is inland. If you look at this graph, marine production means go to sea and capture a fish. If you're doing inland means you're looking at rivers, canals, dams, and creeks, etc., etc. Can you see the graph? Your inland production is nearly 4 times the seafood you get from sea. That much of fish are generated from inland than by going to sea and picking up. Both are important, but inland is more. So your ocean resource of seafood which you're taking is only 20% of the total fish you either capture or catch. Catch is for inland, capture is for sea. Right. And we are the 3rd biggest fishery production in the world after China and Indonesia. There are 40 lakhs of people engaged in this sector. And you must be knowing there's a PM Matsya Sampada Yojana by which a lot of loans for their fishing equipment, the nets, and even for post-harvest management. That means after you have captured the fish, for you to do the food processing, etc., loans have been given. And we are exporting already 68,000 crores of seafood, fish every year. So fishery is an important resource of ocean. But I told you some time back, IUU, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. So you should not fish more than what has been stipulated. So how do you do this? How do you know how much fish has been captured? So every boat which goes to sea and comes back, there is a government representative who finds out how much has been the catch. For every fish which comes to the market, there is a mechanism by which data is generated, how much fish has been caught. There could be some fish which has been caught and sold locally and eaten, etc. But government gets a fairly good amount of data on how much fish has been caught either from inland or from sea. Let's come to the next. This is a nice map of India showing mostly the coastal. This resource I'm talking as aquaculture. That means you grow the fish on land in artificial pools. You allow seawater to come inside the pool and grow fish, or in very restricted water, which is connected to the sea, you create a cage in which the fish is harvested. So, world over, 50% of seafood comes from aquaculture. It is, people don't really go to sea to capture the fish. They are grown in small areas, small pools, or cages, which are installed in calm waters. And there, the fish aquaculture output is coming to the market. India produces 13.9 million tons of aquaculture, large amount. And it's the second place in China. If you look at this map, wherever it is dark blue, there is intensive aquaculture. Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Gujarat, not so much in Kerala, not so much in Maharashtra. So aquaculture is popular in the areas where it is dark blue in color. But there's a problem. It interferes with the coastal ecosystem. Some time back, I told you about mangroves. Mangrove wetlands are threatened by popularity of aquaculture. People want to use those wetlands for growing fish. But if you remove all the mangrove which is growing there, then you create imbalance in the ecosystem. So aquaculture may be of low cost compared to going to sea and capturing. But there will be restrictions on where all you can start aquaculture. As such, there are coastal regulations saying 500 meters only, after that you should do, etc., etc. It varies from place to place. But if you look at Orissa coast, there isn't much aquaculture. The large places where there's no aquaculture in Orissa coast, because they are all having growing of mangroves are there in extensive area. So there are restrictions from state to state, but aquaculture is an important aspect. And how much you can take out of aquaculture has to be balanced with coastal ecosystem. So far we have seen three resources. One is the area which I told you is large, EZ. Then I said fisheries. Now I come to aquaculture. Then I come to ecosystem. So there's already a balancing required between the plus and the minus points, which are ocean resources, of course, but we need to balance it out. Now we come to ports. Ports are also another resource. There are 12 ports. I'm talking only major ports in India. Vizhinjam is not there because it is not yet operational fully. Only the cranes have come in Vizhinjam till now. So it will take some more time. If you look at our ports, there are 12 major ports and 200 small ports. And major ports handled about 795 million tons. Minor ports also handle 650 million tons. So they're very close to each other in the amount of cargo they handle. India's 90 ports exports and imports by volume, and 77 by value is by sea. You look at India, we cannot send it to north. China is there, you cannot send it. There's Himalayas, you can't send it. You can't send it to west. West is Pakistan, so you can't send items through Pakistan. You go to east, there's a little bit of place available there through Bangladesh, which I told you some time back. We are using the Bangladesh rivers to send our items to northeastern states. Myanmar, politically not very stable. So there also there is some sort of disadvantage. So it's only by sea you can get your imports and send your exports. For us, ports are very, very, very important. Anything which has to leave India has to go by sea, mostly. If you want oil to come from Middle East, by sea. You want to send exports from India, by sea. So sea is a very, very important aspect. And you should have as many ports as possible. But If you have too many ports, then there are other issues which have to be balanced out, because ports will definitely create some issues on the coastal line, the fisheries will get affected, etc. So government has come with a program called Sagar Mala, by which they want to make the present ports more efficient. There are already 12 major ports in India now. So don't go for too many ports, but make them more efficient. That means any ship which comes will get unloaded fast and ship will go back. Ship will not wait around there for too long. This is an important factor, that you make your ports more efficient. In fact, as per government's plan for 2047, 12 ports will become 14 ports only. Two more ports are going to come, one in the East Coast, one in the West Coast in Maharashtra, and one in Andaman Nicobar. So ports are not going to become, they're not going to multiply very much, but they will have to become more efficient in handling cargo and turning around the ship quickly, so that unload, load, and leave. That is what we are looking at. So cargo transportation has to be there for exports, imports, and it's a very important resource which you have to make sure we are more efficient. If you're not efficient, your ship will hang around there for long. And moment the ship hangs around inside the harbor, many ships will be waiting at anchorage. That leads to some amount of pollution. We're going to talk about it a little later. So important, the ship comes and goes very fast. Next is about the two graphs I've shown. One is on oil, one is on gas. These are indigenous gas production, indigenous oil from the sea. You know, Bombay High started in 1970s. So whatever fuel which you're extracting from Bombay High, it has started coming down slowly, and it will go further down, because the amount of oil which we have is very, very limited. And we get only 15% of our requirement from our own oil field, which is in our EEZ. Anything in our EEZ is ours. So we extract oil from there. 50% of natural gas, which we get from sea, is from our EEZ, and we are able to get remaining 50% you import, while 85% of oil is imported. But what is happening now, the economy is getting decarbonized with more renewable energy, more solar, more wind. So oil demand is slowly coming down. Simultaneously, our indigenous production is also coming down. So indigenous production is coming down. Our requirement of oil is also coming down. Net effect is import remains the same. So we continue to import oil. We will continue to import oil for the next 15, 20 years, the same amount as what we are doing today. It's not going to reduce, because the economy has to grow. More oil is required. We, instead of giving oil for energy, we are using solar and wind. So oil import will continue at the same level, while indigenous production will come down from sea. Similarly for gas. So if this is going to happen till 2035, 2040, there's another secret which I want to tell you. In India, in the EEZ, underneath the continental shelf, there are 970 trillion cubic meter of methane, and they are called hydrates. India is second in the world. First is USA, then is India. That much of methane we have, that much of energy we have. And that is equal to 5 times all the coal which we have, energy equivalent wise. So we have to take out the methane from bottom of the sea and bring it to land for our industries. How to take out this methane and bring it to land is a big issue. And R&D is going on this. It is expected in another 15 to 20 years, this R&D will fructify and we'll be able to take out the methane. Till such time, we are able to touch that quantity of methane lying under continental shelf in our EZ, we will have to rely on oil coming from some other countries because ours is drying up, or natural gas coming from exports as well as from whatever production we are able to do. So this activity will continue in the sea. It has been continuing for 50 years. It will continue like that for some more time. That's what I want to tell you. Another aspect, another resource. There are 4 types of renewable energy which can come from sea. Wind. You put a wind farm in the sea, you'll get wind. And in fact, I want to tell you, wind farm offshore is more beneficial because the wind speed is much higher in the sea rather than on land. So your energy which you will get from the wind farm will be more. But there are 3 other types of energy: thermal, tidal, wave. Offshore wind farms are going to be started in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu by 2026. Tenders are already issued by government in September 23 by Ministry of Renewable Energy. So in another 2-3 years' time, we will have offshore wind farms. That wind farms will be installed in the sea. And from there, a cable will come to Kerala State Electricity Board or to whichever electricity board for you to take the electricity output. As far as wave energy is concerned, nothing is going to happen. An experiment was done in Vizhinjam some, I think 25-30 years back. It was not successful. Only during monsoon time it gave some energy. After that, it was not giving any energy. So the project was closed. There's R&D is going on, like it is going on for thermal and tidal. So from sea, the only energy which you can get is wind. Solar energy from sea is unlikely. Floating solar farms is not yet developed. There have been floating solar farms on lakes and dams and reservoirs. It is happening, but not in the sea. It is not yet developed. So for the next 15 years, let us say, we will be getting only wind energy as the form of energy from sea. No other form of energy will come in the electricity manner. Rest all are coming by form of crude oil or natural gas, etc. So electrical energy can come only for wind. And India plans to generate 30 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030. It's a huge amount of, so you will have a lot of offshore wind farms coming in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. Why Tamil Nadu and Gujarat? Because the wind speeds there. They're called wind bank. Just like banks you go to take money. There are wind banks, and these wind banks in Tamil Nadu coast and Gujarat coast have been found to be very, very good, which will be able to give you good returns for the money you're going to spend, which the government has already issued the tender, as I said earlier. Now comes the next resource, very important. India has 380 million tons of minerals lying on the seabed, lying in the EZ. You can't take it at the moment. It is ours, but there's a restriction from UN authorities. Nobody can do mining till it is approved. But they have permitted us to do R&D, some experiment, etc., which has been done by an organization called NIOT, National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai. And they're ready with all the machinery which is required to go to, which will be lowered to the ship, which will pick up the minerals from there after seeing it on the camera, and it will be picked up, and then it will be taken up to the ship. The ship will bring it to land, and then we'll go for refinement, etc. This approval is expected very soon in the final stages. Let us say by 2024, this approval will come. It is controlled by an organization called ISBA, International Seabed Authority. They are expected to give this. Meanwhile, India is ready for the mining. India is also ready with a project called Samudriyan. It's a spherical titanium ball like think sphere, in which 3 people can be seated and a manned mission will go. So Samudrayan will happen in 2024. Very soon, the first few months of 2024. There'll be some people who will be sent in this manned mission. This is essentially required for going and observing how the mining is going on, or if there's any problem with the machinery which is there. They can't come out. They can only go and see and take a decision saying, okay, this machine has gone bad. It is broken. So we'll have to send another machine, or the machine can be lifted up and repaired and lowered. So for that sort of observation, they are making a sphere. It's already made with some glass windows, which can go up to a depth of 6,000 meters. But that depth is not required for us. In our EEZ, 2,500 is enough. So this will happen after the great Chandrayaan, when Samudrayan will happen in another 4 or 5 months. Meanwhile, the government has issued expression of interest for seabed mining in anticipation of sanction, so that private industry can study this project and get ready with their quotation, etc., so that seabed mining can start, let us say, 2025. So another resource which we will be picking up from the sea is going to be minerals which are lying on the seabed. Now comes, it's a very poor representation of ship. The ship is being broken down. So I'll just say this. As far as ships are concerned, there's a ship building, there's a ship repair, and a ship recycling. Recycling is a new term. Earlier it's called breaking. It was called ship breaking earlier. Now it's called ship recycling. So as far as ship building is concerned, India contributes only 1%, and I don't see any great change happening in this. Maybe it'll go to 2%. That's all. So shipbuilding continues to be a worry for India. It's not happening in our shipyards very well. And another topic, another day, we'll speak about this. There are 25 shipyards in India, out of which many are defunct, and many public sectors which are working, are they only making ships for Navy and the Coast Guard, largely. So you had an aircraft carrier which came out of Cochin shipyard. Similarly, many other naval ships are coming from Bombay, Mazagon docks, and Calcutta, GRSC, etc. We are not doing any international requirement of ships. We're not meeting. Very, very small. Cochin shipyard is doing some 2-3 small ships, that's all. But India requires a lot of ships to come here for export and import, for oil import. And we are using not ships built in India. It is built in some other country. 92% of ships which come to India are foreign built. Only 8% ships which come to India, Indian ports, are Indian built. It's a sad report on the shipbuilding capability of the country. So we need to look at how this can be improved. As I told you, another day, we'll talk about it. Ship repair, similar. Ship repair and shipbuilding have to happen in shipyards. Both are, at the moment, very, very low scale. But we are doing very well in ship breaking. That's why I put this photograph. We are #1 in the world in ship breaking, closely followed by Bangladesh and Pakistan. But ship breaking comes with a lot of worries, a lot of pollution is caused in the waterfront, and also the people who are working on ship breaking activities are exposed to a lot of hazardous materials. So there is a health angle which has to be worried about, both for the water as well as for the people who are working on it. This is a problem with ship breaking. I don't think shipbuilding, ship repair, and ship breaking is going to change significantly for India. Both shipbuilding and ship repair will remain very, very low, and we'll continue to be #1 in ship recycling or ship breaking. That is what's going to happen. and mostly it happens in Gujarat. There's a little bit happening on the eastern side in Kakinada, etc. Now I come to tourism. Now, tourism is a major activity as far as global activities are concerned. India has uh, planned to make our coastal towns to be attraction for tourists, both domestic as well as international. So they have planned some programs. I will just show to you what is going to be done. Recently, you must have read in the paper that India-Sri Lanka ferry service has started. People can go to Sri Lanka, visit that place by sea, come back after 2-3 days, again back by sea. But similarly, they are starting a Gujarat pilgrim tour to cover some religious places in Gujarat. Then West Coast, Bombay, Goa, Kannur, Kozhikode, and all that, they are starting another one. Then there is Ayurveda wellness circuit, which is being started in Kozhikode, Kochi, Trivandrum. So people can engage in some Ayurveda treatment, etc. Wellness clinics they can visit, etc. So they're combining this with tourism. East Coast, something similarly. They're trying to make 13 lighthouses an attraction. And an international ferry service is, as I showed in the map here, is going to start. They're planning from Gujarat to Lakshadweep, to Colombo, to West Bengal, Myanmar, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Thailand, and back to Chennai. So this international ferry service is planned to be started in another 2 years' time. Government is trying to finalize the details of who can operate, how private sector can come into this, etc. So marine tourism is going to improve. More tourists will come. Good for economy, bad for environment. Because most of the places where tourists come, there's a lot of pollution and there's a lot of litter, and one has to make sure that the place is environment is protected. So you may develop your economy, but take care of your environment as well. Plastic pollution is a big issue, and therefore it has to be a combination of how these activities will be combined with the tourism. Next one. So let's look at livelihoods which are coming from ocean. There are ocean-based sectors and the ocean-related sectors. Ocean-based, fisheries, shipping. Shipping means ship going from here to Australia or going to, that is shipping, operations. Shipping, tourism, offshore energy, offshore production of oil. These are all sea-based, but sea-related, seafood processing, shipbuilding. Shipbuilding happens on land. When it is finished, it will put into water. Port, ships will come, unload, load and go back. It is sea-related. And desalination, how to convert seawater into fresh water. We'll talk about it a little later. But this is also an activity where a lot of people are involved for their livelihood. In the world, there are 3 billion people involved with oceans, twice the size of India's population. In India, it's around 60 million people are working with indirectly or directly or ocean-based or ocean-related activities. But environmental degradation, IUU, fishing, and pollution due to plastics and oil and effluents and paint, all this have to be taken care, because if that goes out of hand, livelihood, jobs will decrease. You want the jobs also to sustain. So make sure environment is protected, ecosystem is not unbalanced. So let's look at desalination of water, which I told you. Many countries are facing water scarcity. We talked about it some months back on India's water problem. And water shortage is very serious in India in many places. The first plant is set up in Chennai in 2010. And thereafter, many plants have come up in Jamnagar, Lakshadweep, and one more has come up in Chennai. One more is likely to come in Mumbai. So desalination as a process has started in India. It's in Chennai, Jamnagar, and Lakshadweep. It may come to Bombay also, but this is going to grow. But you should understand, when you want to take water from sea, you can't take it from the beach. The pipe has to go hundreds of meters into the sea and take water. It has to go on the beach, on the seabed, and go and bring water from there, because whatever water is there along the beach has got a lot of pollution, a lot of litter, a lot of plastics. So to avoid all that, they take it fairly from inside the sea. So moment you run a pipe like this, there's a problem of sea traffic, boats going, fishing. All these are to be done with some care by the concerned people. So desalination will grow in India because that is one of the source. Because today we are dependent on rainfall. Rainfall, we are not sure whether it will sustain like this. So we have to look at desalination as a process which we will have to use from the oceans. And now let's look at some worrisome one. India cyclone. Why I'm saying this is natural disaster from oceans. 76% of India's coastline is prone to tropical cyclone and tsunami. Tsunami is more on the east coast. See the map. Wherever there's a blue part, that are all affected by cyclone. And every year, 4 to 6 cyclones happen, out of which 2 will be severe cyclone. So India regularly gets affected by cyclone. Why are we talking? It's not an ocean resource. It is a negative resource. Whatever is there on the beach, whatever is on the coast will get damaged, and economy will get affected till such time it is restored. Ports will get affected. Many institutions, many other facilities which you are creating in the coast will get affected. So natural disasters coming from ocean is a threat to ocean economy. We should talk about it. And whenever you build anything on the coast, please make sure it can withstand some level of cyclone. So that is very, very important to make sure your infrastructure which you're going to create is resilient and is able to withstand the natural disaster. In India, there are more cyclones in Bay of Bengal than Arabian Sea. 4:1 is what the historical data says. There'll be loss of lives, property, livelihood will get affected if your infrastructure is not resilient. And that is a very important factor to be considered when you're looking at blue economy. So let us look at ocean governance finally. So ocean governance, I've told you about so many resources which are to be managed. So there is an ocean governance required for every country. Please remember, India's EEZ can be more than land area very soon. If our proposal comes for continental shelf, we will have more area in sea than on land. And therefore, governance to be done. And this governance has to be done in 4 levels. 1, local level. That is the community which is involved, plus local monitoring. Something like what happens in Vizhinjam, or something like what happens in Kanyakumari. That's by the local government which has to do. Then at the national level, it has to be policy, regulation, legislation, ecosystem management, etc. They have to be handled at national level with the help of experts giving in all the data. While at the local level, it's for more monitoring of the policy issued by national government. Then regional level. Why I said regional level is there are so many countries in the seas adjoining us. Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, and along the African coast, so many countries. It's called the Indian Ocean Rim. There are more than 20 countries in this area. So there are issues that are affecting the region, the Indian Ocean region as such. Maybe salinity of water, maybe seawater temperature, seawater level rising. These are all issues which are affecting the region. So these aspects which have to be discussed, and their conservation and any international treaties and transboundary management, etc., they had to be done at regional level. And the global level will be SDG 14, which will be monitored by UN. There'll be global targets. There'll be common knowledge which has to be shared. And most important, what happens to the ocean wealth lying beyond EEZ of any country? India's EEZ is over. Thereafter, the next EEZ is coming only after some hundreds of miles for something from Middle East or from Africa. So what happens to the in-between wealth which is lying there? How it will be shared? Who will take it? How the landlocked countries will get it? All these are under finalization by ISBA, which I told you earlier. So there are so many factors which we have discussed. So there are 13 factors, in fact. So let me quickly go through those 13 factors, just running through the list. First one, geography, EEZ, we talked about. Second, fisheries, going out to sea and capturing it. Inland, you catch it, go to sea for capturing. Coastal aquaculture, we talked about. Low cost, but ecosystem will get affected. Cargo transportation by sea, we don't want more ports to come, but we want the existing port to become very efficient. So that is our emphasis. Fossil fuel, I told you it's going to come down production, but imports will come by ships. So this will continue, but gas will continue to be 50% from India. Renewable energy, wind farms, mostly will come offshore in another 2 years' time. The rest of the forms of energy, wave, thermal, tidal, I don't think it's going to happen for next 10, 15 years. Seabed mine, very soon it will start. And that is going to be a huge impetus to India's economy. Lots of mineral wealth will come from there, and which will come to land. But we have to make sure nobody else comes and takes away our minerals. That is another dimension from the security point of view. We are not discussing that at this point of time. Shipbuilding, ship repair, ship recycling will remain the same way. Shipbuilding and repair, very, very low level. Ship recycling, number one. Tourism, I told you, a lot of new ideas have come. Seawater will get desalinated for fresh water to overcome the water shortage issues. Livelihood, that we make sure so that there's no pollution, there is no imbalance in the ecology, and we have to make sure all the activities take place without interfering with each other. That is the most important. Disasters, we have to take care in our infrastructure. And ocean governance has to be at state level, at national level, at regional level, and at global level, which I told you is with UN. So these factors we'll have to consider, and we have to align them for best result. What is our aim? We want maximum economic growth to come from ocean. Today, it is some small percentage, which I'll tell you the next slide. But we have to make sure that we are able to benefit from every sector for the economy to become more and more so that we become strong. So what are the measures initiated by government? In 2015, they adopted SDG 14 when it was announced. Then they discussed with 22 states of Indian Ocean region. I told you, Indian Ocean Rim Association, because everybody felt oceans are our future. So they discussed. 2018 was discussed in BRICS and in ASEAN and BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC is another alliance. In 2019, we participated in Africa conference. In 20, the Prime Minister's office formed a committee. Economic Advisory Council was tasked with forming a draft document. What should be India's blue economy? And then 21, Ministry of Earth Sciences completed the EEZ mapping. 92% got mapped. Then NIOT finished with all the experimental mission on sea mining, as I told you. We are getting ready for launching Samudriyan in another few months. Then a deep ocean mission was worked out. And government announces that Ministry of Earth Science will coordinate for blue economy. So all these activities took place, but the policy has not come out yet. In clear terms, it is yet to come out. But It will come from Ministry of Earth Sciences very soon. So let us look at what will be this policy containing. There will be aspects of technology. There is something called spatial needs, and I need to amplify this bit. Space is spatial. That means how much area you want on the coast, how many kilometers you want on the coast. Somebody says, I want to build a new port here. I want some 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers of coastline for me. Obviously, if you build all that, it'll affect fishing. Fishermen have to be made aware, and they'll have to be looking at some other place if you build a port. Somebody sets a huge 10 windmills on the coastline, and then you find the movement of boats will get affected, which will affect fishing. So there'll be some interference in the economy output of fishing versus wind energy. So every sector requires space to make sure it is able to contribute, and they will require relevant technology. And of course, the present focus is on Atmanirbharta, so that everything can be made in the country. So this expert group worked on these 13 sectors and looked at each group, what technology they want, what spatial resources they want, how much seabed they'll have to work upon, and what will be the value which will come out of these 13 sectors. And then they finalized there are 7 domains of common theme which has to be considered so that we can get the best out of blue economy. I told you sometime back in the initial, it's slightly complex. So the most complex part is just coming. So there are 7 thematic domains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First, there should be good data collection. I told you some time back, every time a boat comes, how much fish has been captured or how much fish has been caught from the river and brought. So there has to be good data network, whether whichever be the sector. Today, our data network is not good. Data collection is poor. Data analysis also is not good. So that is the first one. A common framework has to be made for data collection and analysis. Next, you have to make sure when you allocate space, especially for tourism, which has got the disadvantage of pollution and litter and garbage, etc., you have to make sure this has to be planned out very, very well. The coastline allocation for tourism and other activities. Third, group all the fishery, aquaculture, fish processing. Processing means seafood processing, etc., together so that we can maximize the output. Fourth, industries which are going to support shipbuilding, ship repair, some port technology, training people, etc. That's another domain. Logistics. How will item for export will reach the port? Will they come by road? Will they come by rail? Or will they come by waterways? Work on it to make sure that we get the best result. Logistics part of it. Mining, coastal mining and deep sea mining, because our EEZ starts from 0 to 200 miles. So as you go further into the sea, the depth is more. As you're closer to coast, the depth is less. So you've got coastal mining as well as deep sea mining. Different type of equipment are required. So we have to make sure this activity takes place along with offshore energy. You will go and put 5 windmills and wind farms, run cables, and then you want to go in between and pick up minerals. That's not easy. So when you allocate your seabed for wind farms, when you allocate the seabed for coastal mining, you have to make sure there's no clash. Each of these activity can take place without much interference. So that has to be combined in one domain, and somebody has to sit and work out all these details, even though the offshore energy may be Ministry of Renewable Energy, sea mining by maybe by Ministry of Earth Sciences, with Ministry of Mining. They cannot work in isolation. They have to work together to make sure there is no clash. And lastly, the security part. I told you there are issues. Nobody else should come and pick up your minerals and go away under the water and pick up and then go away quietly. So you have to look at the security part, the strategic aspect, how you will monitor all this from satellite. So satellites can monitor all activities, which can, for about 100, 150 miles from the coast, it can monitor. So you have to have some surveillance and things like that. That's another domain. So all these sectors have to cater for these 7 domains to make sure their integrated output is maximum. So what will happen? It look like this. Step 1, we already listed 13 sectors. Step 2, 7 domains we already discussed. Step 3, you straighten out the conflicts between these sectors, and then your blue economy policy will come. Now, what the preparatory work done by government, they have already made study groups for each thematic domain. There is something called O-Smart, which has been started in 2018 with 5 institutions in different places. It comes under Ministry of Earth Sciences. O-Smart expansion I've given there, ocean services, modeling, etc. Then there's a National Coastal Zone Management Authority has been brought into force in 2019. So the government has been working on this from 2015 onwards. First, they made this O-Smart, who will make sure all the data is collected in a common accounting framework. Then the Coastal Zone Management Authority was brought in to bring in new law. Then fisheries policy was revised in 2020, where IUU and all that will be taken care of. Then Gati Shakti was launched in 2021 for logistics. Sagarmala was conceived and started from 2015, essentially for port-led development. Then tenders have been issued for wind farming and sea mining. And lastly, Indian satellites called Navik, navigation through Indian constellation, will have been made capable of monitoring our EEZ. So you will have a good monitoring of all the coastal areas and know who is coming, who is going. At least on the surface, you'll be able to see and look at what are the activities that are taking place on the coast. But there are challenges for India. The first challenge is, you see this graph, activities are state level, I told you, number 1. Then there is national level. Then there is regional level and UN level. Now, state level has to be by state government. Balance is the central government. So we have to practice the 9 coastal states and the 4 coastal UTs. When I say 4, it includes Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar also. That's why it became 4. They have to work together with a high sense of collaboration in federalism. So this federal structure has to work very well to ensure you cannot say, this isn't happening in my state, I will do like this, and I will do whatever is required. And it may affect some offshore wind farms or some sea mining. No, everything has to go as per blue economy policy. Every state, every coastal state, as well as the central government have to go by the framework which will get finalized in the blue economy policy. Cooperative federalism is going to be a challenge for India because we are seeing it in so many other sectors that cooperative federalism is not working very efficiently in India due to political differences, etc. So they have to overcome this, otherwise blue economy will suffer. The C is common. C does not see by party. It's a common medium. It doesn't belong to any political party. Next, important, the ecology of coast in India. It's about 7,500 kilometers long. 4,500 is on the mainland, balance in the islands. They have diverse ecosystems. There are 43,000 wetland, as I told you, so many estuaries and lagoons, so many mangrove, 5,400 square kilometers of mangroves, which require special attention because they're best absorbent for carbon dioxide. There are turtle beaches in East Coast, in Andhra Pradesh, as well as Orissa. Wherever there is breeding time, etc., then the coastal activity has to be almost brought to zero. So they have to take care of this issues on the ecosystem. Then the salt marsh in Kutch, which is a different set of requirements. There are migratory birds of pulicat. So the diversity which you have around India, coastal eco-diversity, all have to be taken into account in your blue economy blueprint to make sure ecosystems are not damaged. At the same time, economy is growing. So India's blue economy policy, in my understanding, is going to come by 2024. Till then, whatever I've told you is a preparatory work which is happening in the government. I told you about 13 sectors. I told you about 7 domains of the same thematic domains. I also told you various initiatives which have come on coastal regulation, fishery policy, and Sagarmala, etc., Samudrayan, and so many things which the government has done. But the final policy will come, I think, sometime in 2024, which will be issued by Ministry of Earth Sciences. So let me conclude. Coastline, we talked about how much it is and how much is our EEZ. Presently, only 4% of India's GDP. India's GDP is coming from oceans. That 4% includes, please concentrate now, 4% includes industry, agriculture, and services. Let's take services first. What are the services which are coming? There is some tourism, there are ports, they are all services. What is industry? Oil production is industry. So that is a type of production, oil production, which is industry. What is agriculture in the sea? Agriculture is fisheries. Fisheries are counted against agriculture in GDP. So today's 4% of India's GDP has got element of agriculture, that is fishery and industry and services. We want all this to grow to make sure that our blue economy is much more than the present level of 4%. And the various things which the government has done, I've already talked about, starting from OSMART to EEZ mapping. Over the last 6-7 years, they have been working on it, right from Sagarmala to Samudrayan and National Fisheries Policy, etc., Gati Shakti, etc. UN has told countries to prepare your blue economy, give it a legal status, and create institutions to monitor. So in India, I think a blue economy law will come. It will get introduced in the parliament. The blue economy policy will be tabled in the parliament. Then a law will come, which will make sure the states and center will go as per that law. We are doing ocean mining for the first time. We are doing offshore wind farm for the first time. That seabed has to be on lease to a private party. So there'll be some law required. So all this will happen when the blue economy law is made, and there'll be organization to monitor it. Many countries have already done it, but India is yet to announce. And I've already talked about all these aspects. Let's hope that our blue economy will be much more than the present 4%, and the environment will remain well safeguarded. The ocean health will also remain safeguarded, and that will make sure India complies to SDG 14 norms, which we have agreed in 2015. To do all this work, we already done the preparatory work, not all the preparatory work, some preparatory work, some more is required to be done. And by 2030, we would have done all this institutions and law and started our mining policies, implementation, etc. will happen. Let's hope that blue economy takes good shape in India with cooperation of all governments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Jai Hind. With this, I finish. I'm stopping sharing now.
Thank you very much, sir. Really a wonderful topic on ocean resources, ocean-based or ocean-related resources. And really, we can reclaim so many resources, just like fisheries production, then coastal aquaculture, fossil fuel production, renewable energy, marine tourism, so many. I think you have noted 13 types, either ocean related or ocean based resources be reclaimed. And coming future, definitely we have such resources. We can use such resources for nation building also. താങ്ക് യു സർ. വളരെ മനോഹരമായ ഒരു പ്രസന്റേഷൻ. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഇത്രമാത്രം കോസ്റ്റൽ ഏരിയ നമ്മളിൽ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ തീർച്ചയായും അതെങ്ങനെ റീയൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വളരെ ഇഫക്റ്റീവായിട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് വരാവുന്ന ചില പ്രോബ്ലത്തെക്കുറിച്ചും, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് സൈക്ലോൺ പോലുള്ള ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ അനുഭവിക്കുന്ന ഒട്ടും എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യാത്ത രീതിയിലുള്ള സൈക്ലോൺ ചേഞ്ചസ്, കാലാവസ്ഥയിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന മാറ്റങ്ങളെല്ലാം സർ വളരെ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു. താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച് സർ. റിയലി എ വണ്ടർഫുൾ പ്രസന്റേഷൻ on ocean resources. So, thank you. Jyoti Kumar sir, I'll start to you.
So
Okay,
I will
sir.
just respond to you, Sabu, two lines. I want to once again highlight, India may have more area in the sea than on land for resource utilization. Just remember that one particular aspect. We will, I don't know whether how many people knew in this audience this particular factor.
Yes.
We will have more area in the sea. Number one. Number two, there has to be a lot of give and take between various sectors to make sure oceans are not damaged the way humanity has damaged land.
Yes.
Your global warming is a manifestation of the damages you have done on land. You have to make sure oceans don't suffer. So a lot of restrictions are going to come.
Yes.
But you've got enough oceans. We've got enough space. We'll be still doing well. But we have to do in a very disciplined manner. That's it.
Very, very conscious, disciplined manner. Yes, really, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Jyoti Kumar sir, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Kannan sir, namaskar. Very nicely you presented, sir. This is a new idea. As far as I am concerned, blue economy, this package, and the United Nations have already started this SDG program. These are all new to us because these are all complicated subject, as you said rightly, because we are not bothered about all these complicated things. We will have to know the fruits of everything. We are not ready to learn more things. This is the natural tendency of especially me type of people. Okay, sir. It uses an in-depth knowledge. Yeah, that is your class is about the ocean and its importance and its mineral resources. So much resources are there. We used to say 72% of Earth is covered by ocean, but we doesn't know how resourceful our oceans are, seas are, coastal areas are. So you have very nicely explained, sir. Then other few things, New India Vision of 2030. These are all new things for us. Yeah, marine, the resources, is it not? Marine, the fishing, marine is only 20% and the inland is 80%. These are all new ideas, knowledge for us. I was thinking that 80% is from the sea and the 20% from land. Now the things have been cleared by attending this class, no? So thank you very much, sir. Then likewise.
I will, Jyoti, I will just respond to that one after. Thank you very much. A lot of aquaculture output is exported.
Oh.
Yes.
So what you're catching from sea, bring it to land, process it, and then export it. It may happen for tuna, right? It is happening in a big way in Kerala and Laccadives, etc.
Right.
But what is happening in aquaculture? Prawns,
Oh, yeah.
different types of fish. They're all exported. So when you go to the market, the ratio of saltwater fish to freshwater fish, if you see, there is more saltwater fish
Yes.
and less of seawater, freshwater.
That is
But
why.
actually, in production in India,
Oh,
it is aquaculture, inland, this thing is mostly for freshwater, but they're all getting exported in a big way. And a
right.
lot of it local consumption, which happens in small uh, places.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Then
you.
like
Thank
the
you.
oil demand is coming down, you are telling, and methane, we are second in the world. These are all the new things. The first is USA and second is India, is it not? Yeah.
No,
Then
for what? For what?
methane, no?
Oh, that methane is trapped under the sea.
Yes.
I told you, repeat once again, that methane is trapped under continental shelf
Yeah.
and it's called hydrate.
Hydrate. Yeah.
Nobody knows in the world how to take it out.
Right.
We have so much of stock. The energy of that stock is 5 times the energy our entire coal can give.
So,
It will see us for decades and decades energy. How to
but
take it out is the issue.
that.
So Japan and South Korea are working on this technology, how to take out the methane from at the molecular level from the hydrate. I'm not going to spend more time on it because uh, the fear is you just take it like this, the continental shelf will collapse, the structure will collapse. So you take something and put something. You understood? You take out methane and put something. So methane is CH4. If your chemistry is
Yes.
okay. So you take out CH4 and put something. They are planning to put liquid carbon dioxide, which is very close in atomic weight to CH4. Okay. So from Earth, you will absorb carbon dioxide, liquidify it, take it to the bottom of the sea, put it there and take out methane. Our subsequent generations will struggle a lot to get gas connection, no gas in the connection in the house. But anyway, I was wanting to say the average age of this, our people are around 65 plus. And people who should know more about this are our younger generation. They should know more about such things. What is in store for them in the years to come? We are going through a very, very transformatory period between now and the next 15 years because of global warming, as well as blue economy coming in. Oceans are going to be controlled. Land is being controlled because it is choking on land. So it's going to be a different style of life for our children and our grandchildren. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Then likewise, the renewable energy, you are mentioning wind, thermal and tidal and waves. So you were mentioning about floating solar energy. Could you able to explain a little more? Floating solar energy?
Okay. Solar energy is basically converting light to electricity.
Yes.
Okay. Rather, infrared to electricity. That's what happens when sun's rays hit the solar panel fitted on top of your house. Terrace. Now you want solar panels to be put on top of sea. It should be capable of, first it should be capable of floating. First. Second, it should not get damaged by rough sea. Third, we should be able to connect thousands of solar panels together to get some meaningful level of energy out of them. Not 2 panels, 4 panels. Thousands you have to put. So this experiment has been started, and I think in Kerala, in not Parambikulam, some other place near Tannir Bukam barrage, they have been able to put the state government along with central government, they have been able to put floating solar panel. There the water is fairly steady.
Right.
In Tannir Bukam. So they have been able to put a fair amount of solar panels, connected up all together, and a cable comes out to the electricity board transformer there, or that reception area, receiving area, and they've been able to get. As a concept, this has been also done in a dam reservoir in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so floating solar panels are there in calm waters.
Yes.
But in sea, which can turn rough, which is subject to severe weather conditions, whether it will survive or not, such a thing has not become popular. It is still research is going on. That's what I meant.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, yeah. Then
I'm happy there are many takeaways from this talk for you.
yeah. Okay, then ocean governance, yeah, bodies that are monitoring regulation as well as policies, and the 13 sectors to be aligned to the best of the blue energy, best utilization and result-oriented programs are there. Then this 7 thematic domains of blue.
No, it is thematic. Thematic.
Oh, thematic. No, right. Okay.
Thematic.
Okay. Then
so you'll understand one theme is good data collection. So whether it is for fishery production, or for oil production, or for seabed mining, or it is for wind energy, whichever be the sector, we should have good data collection.
Correct.
And data collection has to take place at the ground level. And then it has to be shared with the help. So good data collection has to be set up in all these sectors. That's what it is.
Correct.
That's one theme.
So the preparatory work is so long, is it not, sir, to finalize each and everything? So yes,
it is very. In fact, when you go through the 13 sectors, you will realize that they are so interconnected.
Correct. Yeah.
They are so interconnected. There are conflicts.
Correct.
In their contribution. There are commonalities also. Correct. So somebody has to sit and decide coastline by coastline where what can come, where what should not come. Till now, the last 75 years of our independence, we have seen case by case. Here one port, here one harbor, here something else. And it was working well. It is contributing something. But now, because you put a port here, what is the impact on some other sector? They were seen in a limited manner. Now it will be seen in a broader manner so that you can make a plan for the whole country. That is why it is taking so long, the blue economy plan. When I started researching on this, I realized there's so much of connectivity in this. Dependence on each other is very, very high. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So interesting and very eye-opener for we people. Thank you very much. And we learned so many things about ocean. Please come again with another subject, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
This is my 13th talk to Sabu. So, Sabu, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Hariharan, sir.
Thank you.
എന്നെയാണോ വിളിച്ചത്? ഇപ്പോഴാണ് now I realize how India is projected to become a 5 trillion economy by 2024. This was the background under which the public were not aware. നമ്മൾ കളിയാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരുന്നു നമ്മൾ 5 million ആകുന്നുള്ളത്. If you export the potentials of this through blue economy, you can even take 10 trillion within another 5 years time. Thank you.
Actually, a significant portion is going to come from sea minerals. Yes. Today, sea minerals is 0. 1 gram has not been picked up, except for some research work, experiment. But when the actual picking up starts, and when all those things come to land, and then they are converted to metallurgical items, our economy will grow up really well. And those items which are lying there are what is required for the present technology of renewable energy.
Yes.
nickel, copper, huge quantities, manganese are lying there. Thanks. Hari, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yogi, sir.
Thank you, sir. Kannan sir, Vice Admiral Kannan sir, your talk is an eye opener too. I think they're developing India. In future, what amount of resources we can have from our sea or under the sea. So vast amount of resources are around us, especially India like country. We have so many kilometers of seashore. And when we come across this energy, we can see that energy can be divided into two. One type is the renewable energy, and other is the non-renewable energy. And I think you mentioned about mostly about the renewable energy, just like solar energy, wind energy. My question is where we use this thermal energy. We know thermal energy is the energy trapped under the earth, especially the core of earth is at a very high temperature, and this high temperature core, using that we can say make water into steam, and using this steam we can run turbines and we can produce electricity. Is in Kerala there is any place where we utilize this thermal energy? And
No.
another thing is this thermal, where we use this thermal energy, any place in India, sir?
No, nowhere in India we have a thermal energy plant. Nowhere in India we have a wave energy plant. Nowhere in India we have a tidal energy plant.
Yeah.
Tidal and wave are renewable because every time there's a tide and a wave. But we have not been able to harness it. There are many reasons. For wave energy especially and tidal energy, if you want to get good returns for the infrastructure which you're going to create, then you need to have a variation in the tide of a significant value. So all along the coast of India, there are only some 3-4 places which is suitable for tidal energy. And till now, we have not been doing much research on it. People are studying, they're writing some article, etc. But no experiment has been conducted on the beach for tidal energy or thermal energy in the sea. But wave energy was done 20 years back in Vizhinjam. It didn't work. It worked only during monsoon, when the waves were more powerful. So it was, see what happens, the wave is led into a tunnel on the beach.
Yes.
And it rushes in and it turns on motor. It turns one which will produce electricity. And when the wave is returning, it will turn the other way.
Yes.
So there are electrical circuits which will compensate when it is going back, it will turn the other way, and they will rectify it and then into DC and then convert back into AC. All this was found to be not efficient. And finally, the project was scrapped. And I think that wave energy setup is still lying there in Vizhinjam. I don't know where it is, but it's lying there. I've seen photographs.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
I heard many parts of the way this tidal energy utilized. How it is utilized is when during the high tide, when water comes on the shore, they make a opening dam. And when this water enters the dam, it closes. And during the low tide, this water goes out from the dam to the sea. At that time, they
So
use
you control when it is being released from there back to the sea. You control
yes.
how much water is going out, which will control the speed of the motors, just like hydroelectric dams.
Yes.
Idiki Dam or some other dam, where water is released, which will drive the generator.
Rotate the generator.
But if you look at all this tidal energy, etc., or wave energy, infrastructure required is very, very big.
and it is not cost
Return.
effective, and also
So
it is
that you will
not
find
cost effective.
that this form of energy we are not able to, it is not cost effective,
Yes, yes.
unlike solar and wind.
Yes, yes. Thank you,
Let me
sir.
give you a
Thank
good
you.
example.
Thank you. Thank you. One more thing is,
If you raise the windmill, if you raise the windmill to 120 meters height,
oh,
you'll get fantastic output.
yes, yes.
But then to create a windmill at 120 meters height, the pillars, etc., had to be very strong to hold it.
Mm.
So in India, I think they are looking at only 80 meters now. We are not utilizing full capacity because the strength required for the infrastructure is very, very high. If raise the windmill location. It's a specialized area, so I'll just leave it at this.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
Thank you.
And one more thing is, when you mentioned about when this type of large projects comes, especially the Vizhinjam project comes, we know what happened is that project affect the fisher flock there, and that was the main problem of Vizhinjam project.
That has happened in Vizhinjam. It has happened in Kudamkulam nuclear
Yes, yes.
project.
In
It
Kodamkulam
has
also
happened
the
in
same thing happened.
Pulikat Lake when Adani is. So it's the same thing. That's why I said there's a conflict of interest between one sector versus another sector, which will happen. So it is for leadership to make sure that this is more important than this.
Yes, yes.
Because here 1,000 people are going to be affected employment. Another 500 people get employed here. They have to look at how to make sure that these people are not retrenched in a big way. So it is an issue which has to be discussed, finalized, and implemented without any deviation. Otherwise, you cannot take some mileage out of this for your some other requirement. We have seen what happened in Vizhinjam. We have seen what happened in Kudamkulam.
Yes, yes. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for your fantastic lecture.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Sabu, sir.
George, sir.
Hi. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vice Admiral Kannan, sir, for sharing this much wonderful information. ഞാൻ പലപ്പോഴും കരുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട് ഈ തലമുറ നമ്മുടെ റിസോഴ്സസ് മുഴുവൻ തീർത്തു വരും തലമുറ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ ബിൽഡിംഗ് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ഒക്കെ ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ കേരളത്തിൽ ഇല്ല, ഇനി തമിഴ്നാട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ട് ഇപ്പൊ പാറയൊക്കെ ഈ നാട്ടിൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കും.
അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ഒരു കാര്യം പറയാം. ഓഫ് ദ കോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് കേരള ഈ റിവർ സാൻഡ് നമ്മൾ പറയില്ലേ, സാൻഡ് എന്ന് പറയില്ലേ, സാൻഡ് ഇസ് എ മിനറൽ. ആസ് പെർ it can be mined. Sand mining എന്നല്ലേ പറയുന്നത്. In the sea, there are 1 million tons of sand lying off the coast of Kerala. In fact, off the coast of Kerala, that is the maximum which is lying there. Not nickel and copper and manganese. It is river sand. Not river sand, sand. So that is also production we can go on. How much you can do mining from the seabed is doubtful because it will affect fisheries.
Yes.
Breeding of fish will get affected. Thank you.
ഒത്തിരി സാങ്കേതികവും സാമ്പത്തികവുമായ ഒത്തിരി മേന്മകൾ ഇപ്പൊ തോന്നുന്നു, ഒത്തിരി അഭിമാനമൊക്കെ തോന്നുന്നു. ഇന്ത്യക്കാരനെന്നുള്ള വിധത്തിൽ വലിയ റിസോഴ്സ് അല്ലേ ഇനി ബാക്കി കിടക്കുന്നത്. അത് വലിയ സന്തോഷമുള്ളൊരു കാര്യം, വലിയ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ. താങ്ക് യു സർ. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sabu, thank you very much. I'm happy that many of your people have understood the intricacies of blue economy. Yes. So next time when you see blue economy, it is not something which is so simple. It's a very, very complicated process.
Not something which is simple blue. There is something behind that.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Good night. Good night. Very good night.
Bye. സോ നാളെ നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ മൈൻഡ്ഫുൾനെസിന്റെ ദിവസമാണ്. നമുക്ക് മൈൻഡ്ഫുൾനെസ് കേൾക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു ഹരി സാർ. താങ്ക് യു. ഫ്രൈഡേ ശരിയാണല്ലോ അല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ സാറേ, ശേഷമൊന്നുമല്ലോ. Unmute, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, proceed.